We have gathered here to attend the winter wedding. This winter is unlike any other. There are only 10 days left until your wedding. Your life is about to change forever. You can already feel the shift, as extraordinary events refuse to leave you in peace while the tension rises. Walking the line between reality and illusion, you find yourself surrounded by darkness and sinister secrets. Can you survive your wedding? Will you escape this labyrinth and find true love? Hi guys, Nerissa here. It's beautiful but cold day where I live, which I think provides the perfect atmosphere for today's Let's Play. We're going to be playing a visual novel called The Winter Wedding, as you may have gathered from my introduction. This game is still in demo phase, and if you want to check it out yourself, you can download the demo for free on itch.io. I will put the link in description. The game is supposed to have some horror elements, so if you don't like that, maybe skip it. I am not a big fan of horror genre myself. I hate gore, and even though I have finished Slay the Princess, and it was a marvelous game, it was way out of my comfort zone, and truly something I would not go through for most games. Though I think this game is not gonna be that bad. It does have serious anime vibe though, and I have a feeling our character's fiance is not gonna be a good guy. Let me tell you. Well, it's a romance, probably not the sweet kind. So let's see how wild this will be, shall we? And as always, if you want to see more games like this, let me know and subscribe to the channel. I love playing all kinds of story based games. And the next one I'm planning to do is probably Demon Heart that I have for some time, but it's kind of a special game for me, and I'd love to tell you more next time. But for today, let's focus on the Winter Wedding. And here we go. Alright, this seems like a warning or maybe an introduction. The game is set in a omegaverse universe. I'm not such a fan of all the anime tropes, so I don't know exactly what it means, but I have a feeling we'll figure this out. Where every individual is born with not only a primary gender but also a secondary gender, alpha, beta, or omega. These secondary genders shape everything from social dynamics and interpersonal relationships to biology and legal systems. Please note, the game includes themes such as social discrimination, male pregnancy. What? What? I did not expect that, so it's gonna be probably a wilder ride than I thought. All right, we're in this now. Let's continue. God. And mind altering elements like rats, heats, and pheromones. Is rat the same as heat, or I don't know. I don't know. Not a word I know. Sorry. You'll discover more about this world as you play. Great. Can't wait for a male pregnancy. Amazing. In the game, you are an omega. Oh, that sounds great. Like exactly what we want to be, I suppose. Fine. Oh, warnings for the demo. In story, death, non-graphic, depictions of blood and serious injury, mentions of animal hunting, use of non-consensual drugs. Oh, are there consensual drugs? You mean non-consensual consensual use of drugs? I don't know. A male character experiencing severe hallucinations and grieving the loss of family, unhealthy relationship dynamics. Oh, I knew that. I knew that. And mind control. All right. In gameplay, flashing lights, screen shake, jump scares, and sudden loud noises. I hope the jump scares are not gonna be that bad. I would appreciate that. Thank you. And this is beautiful, the beautiful title screen. I don't hear any music. Let's see if there is any. Okay, the music volume is up. That's the full screen. Alright. I suppose maybe the music will come later. Oh, there's omega symbol here. What will it's probably oh it's probably not like an X for leaving. Let's start for now. Which body will you play with? Left body, right body. Well, I'm a lady, so I will be a she/her lady, getting married. Type your name. What's I'm a rich omega lady name. Let's be Anastasia. I like the name Anastasia. I love the cartoon, the old cartoon Anastasia. It's so fun. If you've never heard about it, you should watch it. Save. It's not easy to read the font, but all right. Wait. What am I doing? Let's enter it. Okay. 10 days left until your wedding. Oh yeah, the music. The music is here. Winter. Not exactly your favorite season. I must agree, I am not a big fan of winter. Though you've always found it soothing to watch snowflakes slowly fall and evaporate against the warm glass of the window, you were never one of those children eager to rush outside for snowball fights or to build snowmen. So, when your nanny said your overprotective parents wouldn't allow it because of your frail health, you didn't feel particularly disappointed. Now, there's no one left to enforce such rules. And that's one of the reasons winter is so sorrowful for you. Your father was never much interested in winter sports, but you know he couldn't resist your mother's persistence. That persistence ultimately cost them their lives when the ice of the frozen lake suddenly gave way beneath them while they skated. By the time they were pulled from the water, it was too late for anything to be done. As you touch their gravestones, even through your gloves, you can feel the freezing cold of the marble. It's already been 5 years since you lost them. Mother, father, I miss you so much. If only there were a way to stop that accident, to turn back time, but it's impossible. Anyway, I brought you some beautiful flowers. You carefully place the white lilies on the grave, speckled here and there with patches of snow. The harsh snowflakes sting your face, threatening to bury the flowers completely under the white blanket before long. Feeling the need to leave soon, you cast one last glance at the grave. And in the blink of an eye, the white lilies are no longer white but soaked in vivid crimson blood, seeping from the grave itself. What? Your heartbeat quickens, and your breath forms a white mist that clouds your vision. Even so, the red is so intense that it overwhelms you, your head spinning, your knees buckling. Just as you're about to collapse, a strong arm catches you by the shoulder. Turning your gaze, you find Christian standing beside you, your butler. His attentive eyes shift between you and the grave as though trying to discern the source of your distress. There's no trace of alarm or confusion in his demeanor. Frantically, you glance back at the grave. The lilies are as white as when you left them. Huh, seems like we have something like a premonition here. No trace of the blood remains. Christian. Are you alright, my lady? Is something the matter? I'm fine, Christian, just a little dizzy, that's all. So then, a fleeting hallucination. You can't exactly say it's the first time. You've never fully recovered since losing your family. You must have been affected by the cold. For a moment, you can't help but feel uneasy at the way his gaze sharpens, as if he's aware of what you're thinking. Now is certainly not the time to meet with another new doctor who promises to cure you with their sedatives. Thankfully, the familiar steadiness in his voice soon puts you at ease. Shall we head back to the carriage, my lady? Please, hold on to me tightly. With Christian's help, you make your way out of the eerily silent cemetery and to the carriage waiting for you. We return into the manor. The roads may be icy. Drive carefully. The coachman nods quickly and takes his seat. Everyone seems eager to leave this place. Everyone except you. Your attention is momentarily distracted by the stark white of the gloves covering Christian's outstretched hand as he helps you step into the carriage. White lilies were your mother's favorite. You recall how she'd always pick the most beautiful one from every bouquet and tuck it into your hair with a smile. But after that hallucination, perhaps it's best to choose a different flower for your wedding bouquet. You don't want to falter at the altar and embarrass yourself in front of everyone. My lady, if you could hurry. I think I dropped my handkerchief at the grave. Paying a flustered expression, you press your hand against your back. The handkerchief is right there. If we leave a message with the caretaker, it should reach the manor within a few days. Oh, but it was a gift from Oscar. You notice a momentary pause in Christian's expression, unaccustomed as he is to hearing you mention your fiance's name so openly. Oscar, huh? I'll fetch it immediately, my lady. Please, wait in the car. No, let's go together. Ah, so do I want to see my parents one last time? Or Oscar's gift is important to me? You know, I have a feeling, as I mentioned already, that Oscar is not a a guy we should be infatuated with. I'm quite sure he's gonna be a psychopath or something. This is a horror game. So, you know. And the butler is probably the other romantic interest. I don't know if we want him to think we're so into our fiance. So I'd like to see my parents one last time. I'm gonna be honest here. Christian's questioning gaze meets yours, but you'd rather seem sentimental than paranoid. Okay, so we're paranoid. I thought we were sentimental, but never mind. Given the thoughtful and caring attitude your parents have always shown toward you, you are certain no one could find you unjust. You know Christian, known for his calm demeanor and logical approach, isn't exactly pleased with your request. But refusing you isn't an option. As my lady wishes, if you'll excuse me. Without waiting for a reply, he adjusts the loosened collar of your coat with a practical air. Unlike you or the coachman, he seems completely unaffected by the cold. Is he also weird or something? In moments like these, you can't help but wonder if he truly is. Once he's finished, Tristan turns to the coachman. Keep the horses ready. The coachman's silent nod betrays his discontent. But whatever the case, you're certain he'd rather be anywhere than in Tristan's place. Am I that the terrible person, or is like the cold the problem here, huh? The sudden, violent gust of wind forces you to cling tightly to Tristan, relying on his strength and warmth as much as you can. When you reach your family's grave, nothing appears out of the ordinary at first glance. We must move quickly, my lady. The weather is worsening. You know he's more concerned about you than himself. You can't help but silently berate yourself for your impulsive decision. Perhaps it really is time to meet with a new doctor. The handkerchief isn't here. Oh, it's me saying it, okay. The handkerchief isn't here. Let's go back. Wait a moment, Christian, what's this flower? Amid the bouquet of white lilies you left on the grave, so easily scattered by the wind, one vibrant red flower stands out. As he pulls it free, Christian's eyes narrow slightly. It appears to be a crimson lily, my lady. The hallucination you saw earlier flashes vividly in your mind, sending a shiver down your spine. But what it's doing here? It was likely mixed in by mistake when the bouquet was prepared, my lady. You reach for the crimson lily in his hand and examine it closely. It's identical to the white lilies you selected for your family, except for its color. Oh no, I remember the bouquet perfectly. This isn't possible. In that case, perhaps it was blown here by the wind from another grave. Look, all the flowers on that grave over there are red. Curiosity and determination compel you to rise on your tiptoes, trying to see the grave Christian is pointing out. Indeed, on the snowy hill there are red specks. But you're not as convinced as Christian that they're the same flower, or even flowers at all. At that moment, your careless stance catches up with you and your foot slips. Of course, we fell on him. We sure did, right? In a desperate attempt to keep from falling, you grab onto Christian's coat. For the first time, you manage to catch him off guard. His typically rigid posture wavers and he leans towards you. You find his face suddenly, startlingly, close to yours. Guys, we just started. We just started. We have not even seen our fiance, okay? Can we slow down a little? Though his lips remain perfectly composed, his golden eyes flicker with an unusual, unreadable glimmer. If it's important to you, my lady, I can inspect every grave here one by one. Your entire body heats with mortification, thank God, enough to make you momentarily forget the cold. With his help, you manage to regain your balance once more. Oh, let's check the grave, of course. Not every grave. You know this is sheer foolishness, yet you press on. I want to check that grave. Christian's hesitant gaze shifts between you and the hill. My lady, if you'll allow it, I'll check that grave myself. There's no need for you to trouble yourself in this weather. I need to see it with my own eyes. Stubbornness isn't a trait you're usually known for. It is now. Yet the firmness in your voice leaves Christian with little choice. Please, my lady, stay as close to me as possible. This ground may be icy. Nodding quickly to brush off his concerns, your thoughts are consumed by one thing, the origin of the crimson lily. Perhaps that's why, even though you haven't gone far, you fail to notice the freshly snow-covered pit right in front of you. Sorry, it looked so funny when she like, oh, and she's gone. Not even like a surprised face, like, oh no, no, I just slightly like into quicksand, like, and she's gone. It all happens in a fleeting moment right after you let go of Tristan's arm to adjust your coat. On the head, like just okay. As soon as you step forward, the dry grass, barely covering the pit, crackles under your weight and gives way, and in the blink of an eye, you find yourself in the cold pit. Like, I thought we were gonna go to a wedding, but for now we're just going through snow and sliding into pits. This place, too narrow for a grave, makes it impossible for you to get out on your own. Is it a trap? It's a trap! Fortunately, it doesn't take long for Christian to rush to your aid and pull you out. However, as you hurry back home in the carriage, the numbing effect of the cold begins to wear off, and the pain in your leg intensifies to a level you can no longer ignore. So we didn't even check the grave. We just fell into a pit. He took us out, and we went home, I suppose. The doctor, hastily summoned to the manor, informs you that your condition is worse than you thought. There's no choice but to postpone the wedding. Unlike your fiancé and his family, who rushed to the mansion upon hearing this bad news, you can't say this little accident has made you particularly unhappy. After all, while the entire household and your fiancé dote on you, eagerly awaiting your recovery, you now have the perfect excuse to spend the snowy winter days confined to your bed. If only it weren't for the pain. And in one, your wedding postponed. Huh. Alright. So this is all we can see from the demo? Huh. That was that was quite short. Well, since then that we have to try another route. See what else is here. We may need to skip through the first part still. Alright, we have to go back. But we can try the Oscar's gift. Oh, sorry, I skipped this. Alright. It was something about his eyes darkening, but it's gone almost as soon as it appears. Based on the impression you've gathered during Oscar's rare visits to the mansion, you are aware of the obvious tension between your butler and your fiancé. That we have not even seen in this demo. That's why this sudden change doesn't surprise you. You know Christian, known for his calm demeanor and logical approach, isn't exactly pleased with your request. But refusing you isn't an option. As my lady wishes, if you'll excuse me. Alright. Alright, so this is the same. We going back. The same flower. And there's the other thing we can try, which I suppose is. Alright, let's don't check the grave this time. No, it's not important. You've been foolish. There's no way you'll truly believe the white lilies you left behind have changed color. As you take Christian's offered arm, you feel something new, embarrassment mixed with unease. These feelings stay with you until you settle into the carriage waiting at the entrance of the cemetery. The warmth of the enclosed space offers only slight comfort, especially with Tristan sitting directly across from you. His presence is a constant, his sharp eyes ever watchful. You're aware that the situation, traveling alone with a servant, is hardly appropriate for someone like you. Alright. But since Christian's arrival, he's been far from an ordinary butler, to the other staff and to you. You haven't been sleeping. With him, I hope that would be inappropriate. You haven't been sleeping well lately, my lady. Oh, with him speaking, sorry. Sometimes I just miss it, like I'm thinking about something. Alright. Christian, you haven't been sleeping well lately, my lady. If there's anything besides the upcoming wedding troubling you, please don't hesitate to tell me. Your expression hardens reflexively. Daisy told you this, didn't she? Daisy, your maid, listens to him more than she listens to you. much to your ongoing frustration. I'll dismiss her as soon as we return to the manor. For the first time in what feels like forever, a faint smile crosses Tristan's face. As you wish, my lady. I'll make sure a replacement with all the necessary qualities is arranged promptly. That's precisely the problem. You doubt any new maid, no matter how reserved, would defy him. Tristan is too commanding for a servant, and you, far too compliant for a master. Still, his flawless management of the estate over the past 5 years has left no room for complaint, even from you. The sound of hoofs crunching through snow fills the silence. Wolves, my lady. You asked what was keeping me awake at night. Tristan narrows his eyes slightly. Ah, I see. The howls from the forest near the manor, perhaps? It feels like they're howling louder than ever these nights. I'll arrange for hunters from the nearby village to deal with it, my lady. You needn't concern yourself. Thank you. If that's truly all that keeps you up, your voice rises unintentionally. What do you mean by that, Tristan? Perhaps you should consider postponing the wedding, my lady. I only suggest this because winters are particularly hard on your health. Forgive me if I've overstepped. Your brows knit together in irritation, yet you can't immediately find the words to refute him. Os- Oscar is a noble alpha, and you, a noble omega. Marrying Oscar isn't about love, it's an obligation, like every other inexplicable, unshakable duty in your world. You know neither you nor your fiancé truly has a say in this. Postponing the wedding will only temporarily mask this reality. Still, you sense that Tristan's words might be hinting at your passiveness in this situation. Alright, we can. Thank you for thinking of me, Tristan, but it's somehow Tristan now, but I thought he was Tristan. Thank you for thinking of me, Tristan, but I'm well enough. Everything should proceed as planned. The decision is mine to make, Tristan. I'll let it slide this time, but I don't want you bringing this up again. Hmm. Will we be commanding, or will we be the nice Omega we are? I think let's be kind. Let's be kind. Thank you for thinking of me, Tristan, but I'm well enough. Everything should proceed as planned. Since you avert your gaze, you can't quite make out the expression on Tristan's face. However, the unusually soft tone in his voice proves that he's only thinking of you as a good steward would. As you wish, my lady. Everything will proceed as it should. As time passes, you hear the eerie creak of the wrought iron gates surrounding the estate's grounds. The sound signals the end of your journey. Descending from the carriage, you clutch your bag tightly. Hidden beneath your handkerchief lies the crimson lily you found at the grave. The dark silhouette of Manure greets you with all its gloom in the middle of the white landscape. Even though this has disturbed you since childhood, you cannot deny that over the years it has unintentionally bound you to this place. When your fiancé expressed his desire to live here after your marriage, enjoying the manor's atmosphere, it was one of the few decisions you made together. Due to its age and size, the manor has never been adequately warm or well lit. Still, as you step inside, the familiar sense of comfort and security relaxes you. Your maid, Daisy, hurries over with quick steps to help you out of your thick outerwear. She looks at you with a warm expression, as if seeking forgiveness for some unspoken guilt. Oh, the guilt is well spoken, alright. We know she uh, was telling someone something she was not supposed to be telling, but alright. Shall I prepare your bath? You decide to set aside the topic of a new maid for now. Yes, please. Why does she have no like artwork? Is that intentional? I thought maybe there's no artwork because we don't know the character, but that doesn't make sense. Alright. As you climb the stairs, you overhear Tristan giving her instructions. Make sure the bath is properly heated. Also, bring chamomile tea with honey and lemon. Without a single protest, Daisy bows to him in a manner she is clearly accustomed to, and a flicker of rebellion ignites within you. However, it extinguishes as soon as you step into the corridor at the top of the stairs and head to your room. You are too tired to challenge the established order in the menu. It's a fatigue that has been intensifying in recent days, robbing you of restful sleep. It feels as if every step you take tightens invisible chains, weighing you down, forcing you to stop. You try to tell yourself this is just wedding stress. At least, you don't have a more reasonable explanation for it. Not yet. The oppressive silence of the manor, filled only with the sound of crackling firewood and distant footsteps, is suddenly interrupted by the creak of a door. Your eyes quickly find your maid, who has appeared at the entrance. The bath is ready, my lady. Thank you. I'm coming. As you step into the bathroom, the stifling heat envelops you. It's much warmer and more humid than usual. Steam rises from the water in the tub, filling the room with a pale glow and fogging the windows at the top of the bathroom. How is the temperature, my lady? You want to ask her to open a window, but the warmth quickly surrounds you, spreading to every corner of your body. It's fine. I'm glad. The butler mentioned you stayed outside for quite some time. This will do you good. With Daisy's help, you manage to easily slip out of your clothes. In a short time, a pile of fabric forms at your feet and you can feel the heat directly on your bare skin. Since it's still light outside, I don't think you'll need many candles. Daisy lights a few candles quickly, then turns to gather the pile of clothes. Would you like me to assist you while you bath, my lady? Naked and vulnerable, you suppress the chill that rises within you and move towards the top. No need, Daisy. Thank you. Don't forget to drink your tea. The closing door echoes in the room as Daisy departs. Slowly lowering your body into the warm water, you sink entirely into the tub. At that moment, the pleasant and refreshing aroma from the side of the tub catches your attention. Drink the tea or don't drink the tea. Do we trust Daisy? I have a feeling that if we do drink the tea, it may end similarly to how it ended the first time, though the butler told us to bring tea and he doesn't seem to be someone who would want to hurt us. But at the same time, we want to get rid of Daisy, so maybe she knows that. I don't know. Let's not drink the tea. Let's try to make this as long as possible. Alright, this second run. Since you weren't the one who requested this tea to be prepared in the first place, you ignore the steam in a cup. Right. You can't allow Tristan to control you like the others. The warmth of the water in the tub soon relaxes all your muscles, wrapping your body in a sweet lethargy. Sleep envelopes you, inevitably and pleasantly closing your eyes. So are we gonna drown now because we did not drink the tea? Is that what's gonna happen here? When you open your eyes again, you have no recollection of how long you drifted off. Judging by the lukewarm water in the tub, it couldn't have been too long. You sit up, reach for a nearby towel to dry off, and slip into your robe before leaving the bathroom. As you walk through the corridor to your room, you notice something peculiar in the silence that surrounds you. A sound, somewhere between a growl and a rumble. It reminds you both of an animal breathing and a machine operating. Curiosity sparks as you head to the end of the hallway, where the growling noise becomes noticeably louder. You try to guess where in the manor would this sound could be coming from. Descending the stairs, you notice that no one seems to be around. Where is everyone? Daisy? The mansion is enveloped in a terrifying sense of abandonment, save for you and the sound of your footsteps echoing through the halls. The wheezing noises seem to concentrate near the staircase leading down to the basement. Oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go to the basement to the sounds of a possible wolf or werewolf. Maybe our fiancé is a werewolf, what do I know? You've never ventured into the underground cellars before. Yeah, great moment to start. Let's go. I don't know. You've heard from Daisy that it's filled with rats and a multitude of forgotten old items. You also know that Tristan, unlike the previous butler, has an interest in new machines to make work easier, though many of them ended up broken and left to rust down there. The staff must be down there now, tending to a new machine under Tristan's orders. Just as you're about to head back to your room, a sudden curiosity takes hold of you. You slowly descend the mansion's ancient stairs. So we don't have a choice here. The dim light makes it hard to see, but you eventually reach a damp and cold space at the bottom. The wheezing grows louder. The wheezing grows louder, transforming into a hum that reverberates through the walls. You're no longer sure if the source of this noise is a machine. Is anyone there? Tristan? The shadows around you seem to multiply, but there's no response. Your heartbeat quickens, your breathing turns ragged, and you decide to abandon this unpleasant curiosity. But it's too late. One of the shadows moves, lunging towards you, but your instincts kick in and you manage to dodge it. That is, until your foot catches on something on the ground. Your fall and the sharp blow to your head happen in an instant. Of course, we fell again. So clumsy. Before your vision fades, one thing becomes clear. The shadows, they're not human. Didn't you reunited with your family? That's great. We couldn't even choose to not go there. And I mean, oh yeah, no, not back. In which ending do we at least meet the fiance before dying? I don't know. I have gone through it again and saved. So we may be able to get to the one decision that may change things. So let's drink the tea then. Despite the tart taste filling your mouth with the first sip, you keep drinking. You're amazed at how well Tristan seems to know exactly what you need. Soon, an odd sense of joy fills your mind. It feels as if all the invisible chains that weighed you down have snapped one by one. So he drugged us? Oh, amazing. Good guy, our butler. The approaching wedding, the exhaustion of recent days, the wolves howling through the night, the crimson lilies in the cemetery, the snow-white winter. All of it fades into distant memories in your mind. Your entire body is enveloped in a sweet lethargy. Sleep closes your eyes with a pleasant inevitability. You taste peace. When you open your eyes again, you find yourself still in the bathroom, but you can sense something strange even before you see it. At first glance, the only noticeable difference in the absence of daylight, filtering through the windows above, replaced by shadows cast by the extinguished candles Daisy had lit. You likely dozed off in the tub. No change here. The air is so stifling that it's hard to gauge how much time has passed. But you feel the sharp clarity and freshness that comes after an untimely, prolonged rest. Just as you're about to sit up and leave the tub, your gaze falls on a dark silhouette by the edge of the tub. Oh, who is it? Is it a shadow? Is it Oscar finally making an appearance? It doesn't take long to realize that the shadow is actually a large face with a white, toothy grin leaning against your bathtub. Fear courses through your veins, pumping adrenaline into every corner of your body. Woof, woof, woof. Oh, it's what? A dog? Alright. The reverberation of the voice against the walls is unsettling, yet oddly, it comforts you, of course. Extending your hand out of the tub, you begin stroking the uninvited guest who had been watching you inappropriately. The creature responds with quick, noisy breaths from its nose, expressing its delight. What are you doing here, Snow? Snow is one of the few things you love about winter. A few years ago, during an incredibly harsh winter, you followed faint, pitiful whimpers outside the manor and found Snow, buried in a snow-filled pit, on the verge of freezing. Back then, his wet, sparse fur was barely distinguishable from the snow. Now it has grown thick and glossy. As you run your fingers through his fur, you suddenly realize your hand is wet. You pull your hand back. You're soaking wet, Snow. Have you been rolling around in the snow again while I was gone? This discovery dampens your mood and you can't help but grumble. How could they let you outside? You can't even count how many times Snow has slipped out to the forest without anyone noticing. If there's one thing you remember clearly, it's warning everyone in the manor about this repeatedly. Despite his silence, Snow's large eyes remain fixed on you. Don't look at me like that, Snow. The wild wolves in the forest could tear you apart. As you move your hand away from the top's edge, you notice the trail it leaves behind. Thick, dark droplets slowly distort the handprint, and you realize that the substance coating Snow's fur isn't melted snow. Your anger quickly gives way to another emotion. Snow, I can't believe this. What happened to you? An enigmatic expression dominates Snow's shadowed face, devoid of pain. Your gaze instinctively shifts from him to yourself. And that's when you realize the truth. The marks don't come from Snow. Did the lighting change? They come from you. The tub you've been sitting in is filled with blood. Alright, it's either another premonition or it's our days, you know. Well, I don't think that would lead to this much of blood, like, you know. But it's the less gruesome explanation, probably. Well, I mean, if it's a premonition, it's not gruesome, it's just, you know, another hallucination, whatever. No! Your first scream is filled with more with shock than fear. No matter how many times you open and close your eyes, the reality before you doesn't change. This can't be. How could so much blood come from me? You're absolutely certain you don't feel any pain. Not injured. You need to get out of the tub immediately. But despite the clarity of your mind, your body refuses to move, frozen like a corpse. And that is the final blow to your control. Daisy! Snow's sharp teeth suddenly clamp down on your bare arm, igniting a new wave of panic. No, Snow, stop, please! Instead of pain or burning, you feel only pressure as Snow's powerful jaws tighten around your arm. With surprising strength, he manages to drag you out of the tub. Probably not realistic, but alright. Good boy. Snow, let me go. If you want to help me, go outside and get someone. No matter what you say, you can't stop him. The liquid from the tub spills onto the floor as you're pulled out, and you feel the sticky blood adhering your body to the ground like glue. Crying, screaming, you have no other option. Please, someone come here! Isn't anyone there? Snow nudges you a few times with his paws before abandoning his efforts. He circles around you in strange patterns, letting out low, agonized whines. The stiffness and coldness enveloping your body, the blood-filled tap, your unheard cries and snow-stained house ignite one singular thought in your mind. As if trying to escape this reality, you let out a final desperate cry. Christian! Christian! Your voice cuts off abruptly. You have no means left to call for help. At the same moment, Snow gives up his futile struggle and collapses hopelessly to the floor. In the ensuing silence, you see the shadows in the bathroom multiply. Cold, darkness, and silence. It feels like the beginning of an eternal sleep. However, everything changes in an instant. The sound of hurried footsteps echoing through the mansion fills your ears, and your heart and senses come alive again. As the footsteps rapidly approach, the door suddenly creaks open with a terrifying screech. My lady, it's me. A shadow grows larger before your eyes, obscuring your vision. Well, maybe if you did not drug us with tea, we would not have these weird hallucinations. Is that what's going on? Is he like dragging us? It was in the warnings, so that I don't know, we are. There must be a reason you want someone to be proclaimed mad or something, especially if it's a lady of the manor, or if you don't want her to be wed to someone, things like that. As you wait in silent anticipation, the softness of a towel wrapping your damp skin reaches you. Immediately after, strong arms lift you effortlessly off the ground. Everything's fine, my lady. I'm here. Don't be afraid. Though it sounds like a command, his words swiftly slip into your mind, silencing the uncontrollable orchestra of fear inside. Suddenly, you feel the wave of the breaths you take in. As the stiffness in your body quickly dissolves, an involuntary ache spreads through your muscles. A warm shiver runs down your spine from head to toe. What happened here? It's freezing here, my lady. Are you alright? The light from the doorway stings your eyes. Even so, you can make out Daisy standing at the door with a lamp in hand, scanning the room in astonishment. The bathtub! The weak sound escapes your parted lips. Hearing you, Tristan turns his gaze to Daisy. Check the bathtub. You see Daisy hesitantly pointing her lamp at the tub without fully understanding what's going on. Oh, all the water has spilled out of the tub, and it's gone cold. Water. The realization reignites everything if what has calmed inside. This time you're sure it wasn't a hallucination. No, impossible. Christian, put me down. Christian's amber eyes narrow in suspicion. My lady? I said, put me down. I'll check the tub myself. Let me go! Your impatient outburst draws startled whispers, making you aware of the spectators at the doorway. If everyone in the manor could hear you, why did it take them so long to arrive? Deciding to leave that question for later, you focus on the moment. Christian finally complies, slowly setting you down from his arms. You take timid steps toward the bathtub, determined. Handing you the lamp, Daisy murmurs hesitantly. What's the matter, my lady? Did you see a mouse? Ignoring her, you firmly direct the lamp's light at the bathtub. But even before you do, the faint glimmer reflecting from the floor proves that only water has spilled from the tub. Looking inside confirms the same. The blood that had filled the tub just moments ago. Not even a trace remains. So everything that had just happened was nothing more than another, no matter how vivid and terrifying it felt. I refuse to believe it. Christian's calm but stern voice breaks the silence. Did I assign anyone a task that required standing idly at the door? Am I mistaken? The shadows at the doorway quickly scatter as his tone softens slightly, directed at you. You must have had a nightmare, my lady. I think you're right. Please don't be upset. It must have been caused by the sudden change in temperature. Despite the dim light, you can discern the hardened lights on Christian's face. Luckily, they are not aimed at you. How could you leave my lady alone in the bath for so long? You weren't even aware the fire had gone out. Under Christian's icy gaze, the poor servant's face turned crimson. I just never leave my lady alone under any circumstances. Or you'll need to find yourself a new place to work. What are you still waiting for? Take her to her room immediately. Help her dry off and get dressed, and make sure she hasn't been hurt. Not wanting to stay a moment longer in this unsettling place, you hurry to leave. Just as you're about to step out of the room, one of the shadows in the corner moves and lunges at you. Woof, woof. You stare at your dog in disbelief, wondering how it managed to stay still and silent in the bathroom until now. Daisy, afraid of upsetting Christian further, tries to pull Snow away from you. Now's not the time, Snow. Get away immediately, it never listens, bad dog. Wait, Daisy. Grabbing a nearby towel, you crouch down to Snow under Daisy's astonished gaze and start drying its fur. Did Snow go outside while I was away? The question catches Daisy off guard. No, my lady. As Tristan approaches, you see her lower head. You see her lower her head anxiously, unable to say more. You're certain she's hiding something. Still, you don't want to interrogate her in front of Tristan and prolong the tension of the evening. But just then, you notice a dark stain on the towel in your hands. With a momentary hesitation, you lift your gaze to Tristan. His expression, oddly enough, reassures you. At least this time, you're sure it wasn't your imagination. Not now. Snow starts panting excitedly again, looking at you intently as if trying to tell you something. Yet despite the insistence in his large, bright eyes, he can't convey his message. Christian's shadow leans over him, shrouding him in darkness. Don't worry, my lady. It seems Snow isn't injured. This blood must have come from somewhere else. His brows furrow as he turns his gaze to Daisy. I've told you countless times not to give him bloody, raw meat, haven't I? You know it's one of Tristan's rules to tame Snow, who already looks wilder than an ordinary dog. Though you believe there isn't an ounce of savagery in Snow, you've never opposed Tristan on this matter, especially since he's always claimed Snow was unsuitable for life in the manor. It must have been the kitchen staff who gave it to him. I don't know anything. Truly, my lady. This pleading gaze is hard to ignore. Can this be discussed later, unquote. As the butler, it's your duty to know everything that happens in this manor, Christian. Let's save it, just to be sure. Let's not be mad at Christian. I'm cold. Christian hesitates briefly before stepping back in a rush. Of course, forgive me for keeping you waiting, my lady. You can rest assured that such confusion will never happen in the manor again. As you retreat to your room, Daisy carefully dries and dresses you, but your thoughts remain a tangled mess. You can barely follow her words as she continues, her gaze filled with gratitude, never leaving you. Believe me, my lady, I came as soon as I heard your voice. I just wanted to tidy up your belongings while you were bathing. I noticed one of your perfumes was almost empty, so I went downstairs to send a servant to order a new one. You know, the wedding is approaching and everything must be perfect. Daisy gently rubs ointment over the few bruises on your back and legs caused by a fall on the bathroom's hard floor. As for the strong bite Snow left on your arm, there isn't a single mark. You could have guessed Snow wouldn't do such a thing now, peacefully curled up and sleeping near the roaring fireplace. Catching your gaze on the dog, Daisy immediately speaks up. I had nothing to do with that bloody meal, my lady. bloody meal. I mean the blood on snow. Maybe he slipped outside and caught a rabbit or something. I'd never go against Christians or Daisy's. I'd never go against Christians or rather your orders. You know, at least in this matter, she isn't lying, or more precisely, can't lie. Thank you, Daisy. Since Daisy isn't taking these marks more seriously than usual, due to the approaching wedding, you wait for her to finish her work so you can be alone. Is taken, alright. Afterward, you try to process everything that happened during the day. After all, you need to make a decision eventually. First, the blood-stained lilies in the cemetery, then the blood-filled bathtub. They're quite different from the hallucinations you've experienced before. That's why finding a solution doesn't seem as easy as you'd hoped. If the crimson lily in the cemetery was really dragged from another grave, and Snow just stole raw meat from the kitchen. Oh, what am I even thinking? Of course, that must be what happened. You try to push these nonsensical thoughts aside and focus on the upcoming wedding and the details demanding your attention, but before long, sleep overtakes you. Alright, we've survived the first day, I suppose, eventually, finally, by not checking graves and, funnily enough, drinking tea. And we have not been poisoned, just another hallucination, I suppose. In the middle of the night, you slip out from beneath your heavy blanket, unsure of what woke you. You approach the window beside your bed and peer outside. Wolves? The dark forest, starting where the high garden walls end, is cloaked in an eerie stillness and silence tonight. None of the wolf howls that filled the recent nights reach your ears now. Stepping away from the window, your gaze returns to your room, warm and brightly lit by the crackling fireplace. Daisy, insistent on not leaving you alone, sleeps peacefully in the chair by the fireplace, her head resting against its back. Snow, curled up at her feet, shares the same tranquility. Despite the nightmare you experienced in the bathroom, you desperately need the peaceful sleep you found there. You start thinking of something that could help you achieve it. You consider what might help you and think of chamomile tea as your best option. At least for now, a hot bath is out of the question. Not wanting to disturb Daisy's sleep, you decide to head to the kitchen. Oh yeah, let's just leave alone again. This seems to really go well usually in this game. Someone there is bound to be awake preparing for the day ahead as work in the kitchen starts earlier than in the rest of the manor. Wrapping yourself in your robe, you slip quietly into the hallway. The oppressive atmosphere of the manor, combined with the chill and silence of the night, feels overwhelming. You quicken your pace as you descend the stairs and head towards the kitchen. But despite the lit lamps and the boiling pot on the stove, the kitchen is empty. Your steps, almost instinctively, lead you to the other side of the kitchen, to the open door leading to the corridor where the storage rooms are located. In the dark hallway, you easily spot the only door ajar, light spilling through its gap. However, the sounds coming from inside, moans perhaps, warn you against approaching. The only thing you are certain of is that Tristan is in there. Alright. Alright, this seems like an option that could have some interesting consequences, and I hope I won't have to censor anything here. But at the same time, it seems the art is not finished yet. Like, there are only two characters, maybe Oscar is drawn, but we have not met him yet. So let's say that we save this. And let's Oh, we can't approach. It's not. Alright. We can't approach. They did not implement this thing. Yeah, okay. So we have to return to our room. Sorry. You know that encountering an inappropriate scene wouldn't suit someone like you. I mean, you're about to be wed, maybe you need some education. Alright. Well, whatever is happening there, you are confident that Tristan would never let it interfere with his duties. Of course not. With few other options, you decide to return to your room. Crawling back into your bed, you wait helplessly for sleep to take you. Snow, barking a few times in his sleep, makes your effort more challenging, yet Daisy remains undisturbed. Eventually, as the room starts to brighten with the first light of dawn, your eyes finally close, only to open again just a few hours later. You survive the day, 9 days left. Alright, this is a survival visual novel. So I think there are 2 days in the demo, and this is the first time we survived the first one, so yeah, go me. And then new day, let's survive this day too, shall we? No matter how long you sleep, you wake up at the same time every morning without exception and have your breakfast. After all, the rules of this house are so deeply rooted and unshakable that they control even you, the master of the estate. Still, that does not change the fact that you need them. You have no idea how things would function without them. When you leave the dining room and take your place at your writing desk, the letters you need to respond to are already waiting for you. In the winter months, the estate and its lands are wrapped in an even deeper silence under the weight of snow. No sound of the heavy door knocker announcing a visitor, no distant rumble of carriage wheels passing by. The only connection you have to the outside world is these letters. During the season, they are usually so few that reading them every couple of days and delivering the necessary replies to Tristan before noon is a simple and routine responsibility. With the ornate letter opener passed down from your father, you slice through the envelopes and glance through their contents with the ease of habit without much thought. Catalogs from the boutiques in town. You are certain your wardrobe has undergone enough changes due to the wedding. Hunting invitations from neighboring estates. You never found fox hunting in the cold to be an enjoyable activity. A note from a maternal relative offering their regrets for being unable to attend the wedding and sending well wishes. This serves as the final confirmation that none of your maternal relatives, those not too distant to have received invitations, will be present at the ceremony. No one wants to travel in the snow, or do they just not like us? Maybe both. Maybe it's the snow, let's be optimistic. Maybe they didn't want to make so many characters and draw them. Given the distance, their reluctance to undertake such a journey in winter is understandable. Not that it makes much of a difference to you, you merely fulfilled your duty as expected. A brief update from your lawyer awaiting your instructions regarding a few minor issues related to the properties. That you can easily leave to Tristan. And a dinner invitation dated today from the Red Heart Manor. The Red Heart Manor belongs to your closest neighbors, your fiancé and his family. For the past few months, you have politely declined every invitation you received, citing poor health due to the season. For a moment, you consider doing the same with this one. After all, the letter states that it is merely a small, intimate dinner. Ink spills from the tip of your pen onto the paper, forming a series of well-rehearsed words, apologies, and another refusal. Just as you are about to finish your letter, you hear a knock at the door and lift your head. Come in. Don't contrary to your expectations, it is not a butler who enters, but your maid, carrying a silver tray, followed closely by Snow, who dashes into the room. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I brought you tea and some refreshments, my lady. You try to recall when you made such a request. Yet, as you attempt to remember, even the moment before grows hazy in your mind. Forget why you were writing the letter in front of you in the first place. Seeing the bewilderment on your face, Daisy's eyebrows lift in alarm. Last time you said a single plate of refreshments would be enough as long as there were no guests. Or at least, I thought that's what you said, my lady. If you'd prefer, I can ask them to prepare the large serving tray right away. Your dog, after allowing himself to be petted for a while and devouring the biscuit Daisy accidentally dropped on the floor, quickly moves away from you and heads to the burning fireplace. You shake yourself as if frozen from sleep. The letters, petting your dog, Daisy's arrival with the tray, it all re-emerges in your mind as nothing more than links in a chain of routine, a cycle that repeats without the need for any request. No, Daisy, thank you for doing exactly as I asked. But what about the moment of forgetfulness? It feels as though the exhaustion in your body is seeping into your mind. You push the thought aside and return to your letters without delay. As Daisy, relieved from her earlier nervousness, sets the tray down on the table, her eyes catch one of the opened envelopes. Her enthusiastic voice slices through the quiet ambience of the small study like a blade. I didn't know you were writing to Lord Oscar, my lady. Please forgive me for interrupting. Unfortunately, the words you've penned lack the romance and passion she's likely imagining. You are well aware of how Beatus romanticize omega and alpha marriages, envisioning them as bonds of perfect compatibility, intense attraction, and unwavering devotion. Yet, in reality, these unions, forged for power and status, require no such conditions. Still, in the moment you realize something important about Oscar's letter, something that nearly escaped your notice. The problem lies in the handwriting. The dinner invitation was not written or signed by your fiancé but by someone else, merely posing as him. Oscar's action is either a gross act of negligence or a blatant display of disrespect. Or perhaps both. Taking the letter you wrote to your fiancé in hand, you rise from a chair and approach the fireplace. Just before you let the paper slip into the rising flames, you turn to Daisy. Could you summon Tristan for me? Of course, my lady. As you watch the letter ignite with a sharp hiss and crumble into ash, your thoughts begin to crowd your mind, filling the silence Daisy leaves behind as she departs. You are well aware that communication between you and Oscar has dwindled as the wedding approaches, but you are unsure which of you is more at fault for that. Before the marriage decision was announced to you, the familiarity of being neighbors with Oscar, along with the social ties of belonging to the same circle, should have naturally fostered a smooth, effortless bond between you. At least that was what your guardians had told you. Yet now, you can feel that bond stretched too thin, on the verge of snapping at any moment, and if it does, you have no idea what awaits you on the other side. The only certainty is that your guardians and your place in society would not approve, and that you must attend this dinner tonight. A firm, commanding knock echoes through the small saloon, drawing your gaze toward the entrance. There you see Tristan. As Tristan bows before you with his usual precision, you notice his gaze lingering on you with more scrutiny than usual, as though he is assessing whether you are still under the influence of yesterday's hallucinations. To be fair, you cannot say for certain yourself. You summon me, my lady. I am at your service. I hope you are feeling better today than you did yesterday. You respond in a steady voice, motioning toward the writing desk. I am Christian, thank you. The letters are ready for delivery. You may take them from the desk. But before I respond to the lawyer, I wanted to hear your thoughts. You catch the way Christian's golden eyes narrow slightly. Realizing that this will be no different from any of your usual conversations, his gaze shifts swiftly from you to the desk as he moves toward it, prepared to carry out your request. Yet, before leaning over the scattered envelopes and letters, he hesitates. You have no doubt that Daisy has already informed him of what transpired. The letter from your fiancé, your response, the fact that you burned it. The lawyer's letter is in the corner. Christian, bowing his head, sheds his pretended hesitation in approaching your desk filled with personal correspondence, encouraged by this implicit approval. Still, for a fleeting moment, his eyes drift elsewhere, somewhere other than the lawyer's letter. But the moment passes quickly. The issues in the letter seem to be more serious than stated, my lady. If I may offer my humble opinion, it would be wise to send a trusted person to assess the situation before granting the lawyer the approval he seeks. His ever-calm voice makes it easy to trust him without question. After all, in 5 years you have never encountered a reason not to. You may handle it as you see fit, Christian, but I believe it must be done swiftly. I will go to town this afternoon to take care of the necessary correspondence, my lady. There is no need for concern. I will also speak with a few hunters from the village regarding the wolf problem in the forest. And I have already given the kitchen staff proper instructions regarding your dog's diet. I do not believe we will encounter that issue again. If there is anything else you require, my lady, you need only say the word. In the silence that follows, the soft, rhythmic breathing of snow, dozing by the fire, fills the room. It is clear that with all these tasks, Tristan will not be able to accompany you to the Red Hart Manor tonight. Though you are not accustomed to traveling alone, the mutual dissatisfaction between your fiancé and your butler makes Tristan's absence the more appropriate choice for this dinner. After a brief hesitation, you make your decision. Have the coachman prepare for the evening, Tristan. I will be attending dinner at Red Hart Manor. For a fleeting moment, something like surprise flashes through Tristan's golden eyes, an expression you are not used to seeing from him. Yet his voice remains composed, unwavering. Forgive me, my lady, did you mean this evening? I did. Please see to your tasks. I will go alone. You know that Tristan cannot press the matter outright, and so he takes another approach. My lady, forgive my impertinence, but with the recent heavy snowfall, I have concerns about whether the road to Red Hart Manor is passable for a carriage. Had there been more time, I would have sent someone ahead to inspect it. In this weather, there is a high risk of your carriage getting stuck in the snow or, God forbid, an accident occurring. His words unsettle you. The thought of the carriage wheels sinking into an unseen ditch, of the axles breaking, of the horses panicking and injuries themselves. For someone who does not enjoy travel to begin with, these are not mere inconveniences. They are a nightmare, especially given your recent exhaustion and the hallucinations. But the dinner is important. You must see your fiancé soon before the impression that you have neglected him takes root. Are you suggesting I go on horseback instead? I trust you will find a suitable solution, difficult as it may be, Christian. Okay, let's save this here. We don't need to save before. I have a bad feeling about horseback. Let's see, suitable solution. If it weren't for this obligation, I would never ask this of you. Though his gaze remains cold, pressing the irrationality of your decision, his voice takes on a softer tone when he speaks again. You are too modest, my lady. If there is anyone who may ask anything of me, it is you. I believe it would be best for a rider to accompany the carriage, ensuring the coachman is informed of the road's condition in advance and keeping watch over you. This would make it easier to send for help or to turn back should anything go amiss. Additionally, I will ensure that provisions, blankets, and anything else necessary for your comfort during the journey are prepared. I am certain you will reach Red Hot Manor without issue. His words instill enough confidence for you to commit to the journey, even if his expressions suggest otherwise. Lately, you have not only trust in others, but in yourself. Lately, you have not only lost trust in others, but in yourself, of course. Perhaps this trip will help you reclaim some of it. Or at least you wish to believe so. Later in the day, though, Tristan is no longer at the manor. The instructions he left behind ensure that everything proceeds seamlessly. By the time the coachman informs you that all preparations are complete, you leave your room ready to depart. Though dinner is still hours away, everyone, including yourself, agrees that it is best to set out early. Daisy follows you with eager steps, seeing you off, and though she is the only one pleased about your attendance at this dinner, you find a small sense of relief in that. Well, her and Snow, who excitedly dashes around your feet, expecting an evening walk. If dinner stretches later into the night, please do not rush back, my lady. I am certain Lord Oscar would be kind enough to offer you accommodations for the night. The thought gives you pause. Like, Daisy, like, don't be like that, okay? You recall that, until now, neither your fiance nor you have ever spent the night at each other's mansions. Oh my god, this fiance word, I know I keep like staggering over it. It's like, it just, it just feels so counterintuitive. Oh, it's red, it's like, no, it's fa. Never mind, never mind. You have never spent the night at each other's mansions. Well, I hope so. You are not married yet, and you're a proper lady. Like that's, you're not a Tristan's maid. That is not Daisy. That he spends time in the kitchen in the night. Considering that you are neighbors, this is quite surprising. Like, alright, I guess sometimes, like in the Pride and Prejudice, they could spend the night in some proper manner in someone else's house, of course. No doubt. Daisy, still caught up in her delight, does not notice the irony in your voice. I did not know there was any either, but yeah. If that is the case, you will need a maid to assist you. Oh, so she wants to go. She wants to see a handsome man, Oscar, probably, hopefully handsome. Lord Oscar will surely assign the best in his household to attend you, but no matter who he chooses, she will not be me. If you wish, I can prepare at once and accompany you, my lady. As the servant pulls the door open, the wind rushes in, carrying the frigid air of the outside world into the entryway. The sudden chill, coupled with your brief hesitation, delays your response for a moment longer than intended. Unlike Tristan, Daisy will undoubtedly spend the entire journey chattering about the upcoming wedding without pause. That's very thoughtful of you, Daisy, but I may not need the company. I might not even wish to complete the journey to Red Hat Manor. Daisy, struggling to keep Snow from darting outside, stares at you in bewilderment, momentarily at a loss for words. You don't wish to shatter her romantic notions so bluntly, but you continue regardless. Please look after Snow while I'm gone. Before your resolve can falter, you swiftly descend the manor steps and head toward the waiting carriage. As you settle into the carriage, the door shuts behind you with a firm thud, sealing you away from the cold and the dim, heavy silence of the winter night. Everything inside has been prepared for your comfort. Several thick blankets, a basket overflowing with refreshments, and a few books you recently acquired but have yet to read. It's interesting, like, since they are neighbors, but Even though they're neighbors, their like the land they live on must be so spacious. Like so such a big piece of land that they have to travel a long distance in a carriage to meet each other, even though they're neighbors, which makes like no sense to us nowadays, I suppose. But I suppose when it comes to um aristocracy in the history, I don't know which century this is inspired by. They have bathtubs and all. Maybe it's like a Victorian era. She's got this color, very modest kind of dress, but not exactly something I would recognize as Victorian. So I don't know. They should be enough to keep you occupied. The carriage lurches forward, beginning its journey. For a while, you find yourself gazing outside, watching as the high garden walls of the estate fade into the dense woods beyond. The snow drapes over the trees, covering their branches in a pale bluish white shroud. It is a breathtaking sight, one that is both enchanting and unsettling. Then a sharp, thin, and fragmented sound cuts through the stillness. Your ears strain to catch its source, but before you can pinpoint it, a dark figure moves in the depths of the forest. You don't know how long it has been there, but the moment your gaze lands upon it, it vanishes, as if aware that you have seen it. A trick of the eye, perhaps. Yet an uneasy shiver runs through you, as if unseen eyes are still watching. Most likely, it was a poacher who had wandered into the woods and feared being caught. That must be all. Still, you draw the curtains over the windows before returning your focus to the book in your lap, skimming through its pages without absorbing a single word. First, you barely notice the subtle dis- deceleration of the carriage. It is only when the horses come to a full stop that your grip on the book tightens. Oh no, oh no, so we just like. Now we don't know what's out there and it's gonna be scary, right? Right? The muffled sound of boots crunching through the snow drops closer. Your heart pounds, though you keep your gaze trained on the book. Then the door creaks open, and a familiar face from the manor stands before you. The rider who had accompanied your journey, the one the coachman has called Rudolph. His silvery hair glows faintly under the light, a striking resemblance to Tristan's. You suspect he too must have come from one of the villages surrounding the estate. Yeah, just people with white hair in this village, normal thing. The road is nearly blocked with snow and there's bound to be ice. It hasn't been used much lately. If we continue, we'll have to slow down significantly, my lady. Christian's warnings proving accurate once again does little to ease your frustration. Even if you press on, it's clear you'll be late for dinner at this pace. As you weigh your options, a sound thin, fractured, and aching cuts through the silence. It startles you. This time it echoes deeper within the woods. But the shadow here, you catch it now, pressed against the trunk of a tree much closer than before. Your hand lifts almost of its own accord, pointing, pointing it out to Rudolph before your mind can register the movement. Yet the moment he turns to look, it's already gone. The rustling branches, stirred by the wind, whisper through the trees. That eerie sensation creeps up your spine again. This time you're certain something or someone has been watching you for the entire journey. And if not, then the alternative is that it's all in your mind. You force yourself to move with measured caution as you turn back to Rudolph. Did you hear that just now? His response is immediate. Of course, my lady, likely a predator. I couldn't quite place it, but in this weather, anything you saw was probably it. They say their numbers has grown significantly in the forest lately. What are they looking for? His eyes gleam as he answers. foot, my lady. Just like the rest of us. What? For a moment, I just thought he's gonna like turn into a werewolf and be like, "I'm gonna eat you." But there's no need for concern. We have rifles with us. He pauses before adding, "What is your decision? Shall we turn back or do we continue forward?" Alright, so I mean, right now, this is a question of are we more likely to die if we turn back, or are we more likely to die if we will keep going? Because there's something in the forest, and if we go slowly forward, it's probably gonna catch us and kill us. But maybe we will like break a wheel on the way back, and it's gonna eat us anyway. Or, I mean, I suppose Oscar is supposed to be in this demo, so we should be able to meet him eventually, so maybe we will not die. I don't know, let's save it again. And can I go to another page, or is this the only page we have? Oh, here? Possibly. It's hard to. Alright. Let's go page 2, let's do it. So, return. No matter how much we have to slow down, we will keep going. And then load the game when we die, I suppose? Your words cause the young man's eyes to cloud with unease, but he merely lowers his head slightly, unable to oppose you. As you command, my lady, I'll inform the coachman immediately. As the door closes, the narrow, enclosed space of the carriage fills you with a sense of safety and warmth, offering you some comfort. I don't feel safe here, but whatever. I think it would be safer to have the curtains opened a little bit when something approaches. We would be then able to see it, and it will not jump at us and surprise us, but whatever. But you know it won't last forever. With nightfall, the drop in temperatures and growing fatigue will make the journey increasingly difficult, and yet, thinking of Oscar's indifferent and mocking nature, you doubt he sees much significance in this arduous trip. You are just about to tell the coachman to turn back when, despite not having traveled too far, the carriage suddenly lurches forward with alarming speed. Is something following us, or what? Uh-huh. It takes only a moment for you to realize this isn't the coachman's doing. You're sliding on ice. Oh, great! Well, at least we'll be there quicker, I suppose. Thrown off balance, you instinctively reach for something to hold onto, but it's useless. You fall onto the carriage floor. Fortunately, the thick pile of blankets cushioning your landing spares you from any serious harm. At the same time, the horses come to an abrupt halt, managing to stop the carriage. Your heart pounds so violently that the sound roars in your ears, nearly drowning out the noise of the carriage door opening. "Milady!" "I'm fine." Rudolph exhales in relief as he realizes you're unharmed, merely tangled in thick blankets. With his help, you stand and step out of the tilted carriage. So we are gonna walk there and then spend the night? Okay, this guy's rifle has quite a weird placement, I'm sorry. Never mind, ignore that. Though your breath fogs your vision, it doesn't take long to grasp the situation. The carriage has veered off the road, crashing through the trees, and the horses are now buried up to their bodies in a snow-covered bog. Oh no. A wave of regret burns through you like fire. While the other two assess the situation, you remain silent, merely listening. We should go find help. Don't be ridiculous. By the time help arrives, the horses will be dead. Shut up and help me. With Rudolph's assistance, the coachman manages to unfasten the horses from their harnesses and straighten the carriage. Like, no dead horses, please. Okay, that was not in the warnings. I hate I hate animals dying in games and any kind of fiction, as most people do. So no, don't do that, please. But saving the horses will take far more effort. Please. Standing at the roadside, watching them struggle, you can feel the weight of their stone glances, the silent accusations pressing down on you. Guilt and unease settle on your shoulders like an unbearable burden. You cannot shake the feeling that something worse is coming, that something hidden in the darkness, lurking behind the trees, is watching you. But you can't point out every shadow that surrounds you. You can burden them with yet another problem. Helplessly, you retreat into the carriage and wait. Despite the comfort it offers, at this moment the carriage feels no different from a cage. Maybe it's comfortable, but isn't it like on ice in a bog or something? Can do we like drown? I don't know. It doesn't seem safe. With no other way to distract yourself, you pick up your book once more, trying to drown out your thoughts. Oh, it's like yeah, let's just read. Everything will be fine. I suppose that, like what's a lady supposed to do? Okay, let man do all the hard work. I mean, she's quite fragile and will easily get sick anyways, just like me. I don't know. So yeah, probably better to just sit and read a book. I what I do most days, you know. Oh no. Suddenly finding yourself in darkness, your first reaction is confusion. But the wave of the book resting in your lap makes you realize you must have dozed off while reading. So I fell asleep here and woke up in the dark. Not good. After what happened in the bathtub yesterday, yeah, tell me about it. You have no idea how you managed to fall asleep so easily outside in the middle of the forest. This time it feels as if you merely blinked, yet exhaustion still clings to you. Then an eerie shiver crawls over your skin, unrelated to the cold. Only now do you notice the carriage is still not moving. But the sky is already pitch black. The only sound is the howling of the wind, and the music stopped. That's always a bad sign. Your instincts scream at you not to step outside. But what about this silence, this stillness? Summoning your courage, you push the blankets off your trembling hands and crack the carriage door open. Snowflakes drift gently in the air, brushing against your face, but the silence greeting you is far from soothing. Okay, where are those guys? They're dead, or aren't they? Something ate them. The trees around you, cloaked in deepening shadows, seem larger, misshapen, distorted. I suppose Rodolph was right. We need to call for help. But as you step to the front of the carriage, your words freeze in the air, just like your breath. The horses stand ready, harnessed, prepared to depart. Then what are they waiting for? More importantly, where are the others? Your gaze darts around in growing dread. Oh, that's interesting. Like, the horses are there. They're just so calm, like, ready to go, and the guys are nowhere to be found. That is weird. If something ate them, I suppose the horses would get scared and would run away, and maybe at least there would be some, noise and all that. How would she sleep through that? Maybe the shadows do not scare the horses. I don't know. With absolute certainty they wouldn't have left you here alone. Which means, if something emerged while you were asleep in the carriage, you try to reassure yourself by recalling Rudolph's words. They had rifles. He told you not to worry. Yet, a whisper from deep within tells you that their rifles might be no more useful than a child's toy. The moon above spills its cold silver light onto the road, making the snow glisten like the path to a fairy tale realm. Yeah, very bloody fairy tale, I can see. But something mars this enchanting scene. A stain. A deep crimson stain that unsettles your senses far too much. Lifting your head, you see more of them ahead. Dozens of them. No, no, it can't be. Impossible. Oh, damn. It's like something was. It doesn't even seem like something was dragging them. It seems like. Alright, I don't have words for my vivid imagination, but let's skip the let's skip the picture I have in my head. They must belong to some poor animal. Of course, of course. They just, the guys just decided we're gonna hunt a rabbit and then we're gonna like go and make a mess everywhere. Why not? The others must have encountered something urgent, something that required them to leave suddenly. They'll be back any moment now. Yeah, I don't think so, no. But no matter how hard you try, you cannot break yourself to believe this hopeful scenario. Your steps instinctively urge you back to the safety of the carriage, yet guilt anchors you in place. If only you had been reasonable. If only you had turned back before the accident. If only you had never set out at all. An animal. Just an animal. It has to be. But no matter what you tell yourself, the truth seeps into your bones like the melting crimson stain spreading through the snow. Your heart pounds wildly, as if it might burst through your ribs. Every fiber of your being screams at you to retreat. Get back inside, lock the door, wait. But for how long? Christian will find you surely, he always does. But what if something else finds you first? There's no way out. The red trail beckons you deeper into the forest, pulling you forward against your better judgment. Alright, did we have to, like, obviously they were dead, and I mean, the horses are ready. Can we just, like, mount a horse and go home or something? Maybe we should, maybe we should have told Christian to, like, I'm gonna go on horseback. Probably would be safer, maybe, faster. I don't know. Until you see it, a pool of blood beneath a tree trunk, and in its center a man lying motionless as if dead, and he has white hair, so it's Rudolph. Even before stepping closer, it's Rudolph. Yeah, your hands fly to your mouth, trapping the scream that turns into a hard lump in your throat. No, no, hot, please. Despite the burning in your lungs from uneven breaths, despite the sharp ache twisting through your muscles, you desperately want to believe this is not real. A hallucination, maybe, like yesterday, but no matter how many times you blink, the scene before you does not change. Then you notice it, the weak rise and fall of his chest. He's still breathing. Rudolph! How could he still be alive after losing so much blood? At that moment, the sound of snapping branches reaches your ears, and a shadow emerges suddenly among the trees like a ghost. Yeah, maybe we should not have come here, but if something is murdered, usually it's the best to not go after it and get murdered too. But what do I know? I'm just a girl. It moves so fast you have no chance to scream or run. You are completely trapped. Then why did we just levitate? As if your body is no longer under your control, your legs suddenly refuse to support you and you collapse onto your knees. Like prey ready to be hunted. You should have never come to this forest. And now you're dead. I just, yeah. I thought that what's gonna happen that we are just instantly dead, but maybe there are a few more lines there. The only thing still under your control is your mouth. You manage to move your lips. Oh, you can't eat me. I'm not food. That's the best logic. No, you can't eat me. I'm not food. I'm technically a mammal, a monkey, but monkeys are not to be eaten. Who eats monkeys? Oh my god, monkeys. No, who eats monkeys, you savage? As the shadow draws closer, its terrifying bulk shrinks down to human proportions, and the eerie silence of the forest is broken by a powerful, energetic laugh. Okay, so is this Oscar? Is he like looking for us and then he just killed the guy for funsies? I don't know. I'm sure you're not food, my dear. At the very least, I'd take a well seasoned venison steak over you. You got my hopes up for nothing. Yeah, it's him, right? A moment later, the shadow becomes clearer. His jacket, the ornate hunting rifle in his hand, the blood red gleam of his hair in the darkness, and the sharp cut of his jawline. All the details that make him Oscar, your fiancé. Unlike the last time you saw him, surrounded by luxury and grandeur at a lavish gathering, now you find him standing in the cold, dark depths of the forest. For a moment, your mind struggles to comprehend it. You even fear that he might be a hallucination. And yet, despite the rising tide of fear within you, there's an odd sense of relief that cuts through it. A moment later, your voice returns. Oscar, please help me. There's something in this forest following me. I feel like I was being watched since the beginning of my journey, but I thought I was imagining things. But it already attacked Rudolph. Look at him, he's lying there, covered in blood. It could come back any moment. As Oscar's long hunting boots crunch through the snow, you lift your gaze to him. Yet, despite everything you just said, he doesn't seem concerned at all. Instead, under the moonlight, his smirk becomes even more pronounced. Did he just shoot him? My dear, I can understand why you're so excited to see me, but I have no idea what nonsense you're spouting. If you're done with your greetings, get up already. You hesitate for a moment before taking his outstretched hand. There's no other choice. Oscar pulls you up with a force stronger than you expected, and now that you're standing closer, you can get a better look at his face, especially his eyes. Does he like not see the corpse? Is he like not bothered by the corpse? Or is he just trying to gaslight her into thinking she's mad and there's no corpse? Everything seems to be a possibility. Despite the nonchalance in his voice, you realize he's carefully studying you. Good, you didn't hit your head anyway. For a second, you almost had me worried. You try to calm yourself, but your voice still comes out fast and frantic. Oscar, are you even listening to me? I'm serious. Look at Rudolph. You stop mid-sentence as your eyes fall on Rudolph, realizing something horrifying. The pool of blood surrounding him is gone, as if it had evaporated into thin air, just like what happened in the cemetery. And in the bathroom. Oscar, noticing your silence, crouches beside the man lying in the snow. Rudolph! I was almost sure his name was something ridiculous like Christian. Whatever. Shit, he's not dead. I thought you had finally decided to get rid of him and brought him to my estate to bury him. You'll mind. Oh. I don't know, this is a little comedic. Your mind comes to a complete halt. You don't know what to think anymore. Like, he's a jerk, we know that, but the only thing you're certain of is that Rudolph is your priority. Please stop joking and help me figure out what's wrong with him. Do I look like a doctor to you, darling? Despite his exasperated tone, Oscar sets his rifle aside, thank God, and checks Rudolph's pulse before turning him onto his side to examine him. It doesn't take him long to realize that this man is not your butler. How, how was he able to tell? Like, did he got one look on his butt or something? Oh, another white-haired man! Your preferences truly leave me speechless, dear. Looks like he's just passed out. Though if he stays like this much longer, he'll freeze to death. Even though your mind is full of questions, Oscar's words bring a small relief in the middle of this wretched journey. You eagerly speak up. My carriage is nearby. We can carry him head there. For a brief moment, the mockery in Oscar's eyes thins. My dear, may I remind you, I'm your fiancé, not your servant. You must be confusing me with someone else. Alright. How are we gonna do this? Let's save this, why not? So we can step aside. We can say, step aside and let me do it. Let me emasculate you, you alpha. Or we can be like good girl and beg him, which will probably make him very entertained. But I don't know. Let's put our big girl pants on. Your defiant tone makes his eyes glimmer, and soon enough you hear the amusement in his voice. Oh, he finds this funny too. Oh, really? Please, go ahead, dear. I suppose he's right, because how is one girl gonna carry this big man's body? That was probably not a good course of action. I can't wait to see how you'll manage to carry him all on your own. Poor thing, I already feel bad for him. You should have known that a remark like this wouldn't faze him. Still, determined to stand your ground, you ignore him and kneel beside Rudolph. I almost thought that she kneeled before him. Please, we decided to beg anyway. We're probably gonna have to do it anyway. Sweating and struggling, you manage to lift him slightly by his arm, but before you can do more, Oscar's hand cuts in sharply. Leave him. I have no interest in dealing with two corpses in the middle of the forest. Without another word, he retrieves the rifle he had placed on the ground and takes a few steps away from you. What? Alright, it was funny. He said, I don't want another corpse, and then he well, I'm gonna shoot him anyway. What? A sudden flash of fire pierces the darkness. Sorry, I just reacted before reading it out loud. Followed by the deafening crack of gunpowder, it doesn't take much to realize he just fired a shot to signal his location. Soon, the shadows surrounding you stir, followed by the sound of approaching voices. Did you get it, Oscar? Was it a big deal? Want to see for yourself? It's lying right over there. As the first shadow emerges into the moonlight, you recognize the man's face from the lavish parties you've attended. But now, in the forest's gloom, he looks vastly different. His features are tense with urgency. Bloody hell! Did you shoot a man? I need help getting rid of the body. The tense silence lasts only for a moment before Oscar's lips curl into that signature twisted smirk. You're too easy to fool, you know. It's not even fun anymore. An Oscar's hunting party reaches you. You finally learn where your missing coachman has been. One of the approaching figures steps forward, his outline illuminated by the lantern's glow, and you recognize him instantly. By the time we got the horses free, it was already too dark. Continuing on would have been too dangerous. When I heard the gunshot, I thought Lord Oscar might be out hunting. Since Rudolph wasn't familiar with Lord Oscar's men, I went to ask for help. He insisted he wouldn't leave your side. I can't understand how he could be so reckless. Since Rudolph remains unconscious, there's no way to get an answer. As you make your way back to the carriage, the glow of lanterns held by Oscar's men fails to reveal any traces of the red stains that had led you to Rudolph. Instead of easing your fear, this only makes it worse. Yeah, so we just keep hallucinating blood everywhere in every situation. Oh, it's a healthy condition, I suppose. If it was all in your head, then how did you manage to find Rudolph? when there's not a single trace of him left behind? And why is the carriage door open? Did you forget to close it? Did the wind blow it open, or had the shadow been here? Had it looked inside to find you? A fresh wave of fear washes over you. Even now, you still feel like you're being watched. As long as you remain in this forest, you doubt you'll ever be free of that feeling. Even as a child, a single glance at the woods beyond your bedroom window had been enough to send chills down your spine. Now you vow to keep the curtains tightly shut on every future journey. Once inside the carriage, your gaze drifts to Rudolph, bundled up in thick blankets and fast asleep in the corner, and you can't help but recall that vivid, crimson, still warm blood. From outside, you hear Oscar's deep voice carrying over the hushed whispers of his hunting party. Well, I did not give him exactly a deep voice, but what do you want from me? I'm a woman. I can speak like this, you know? Besides, he's the kind to sound like, oh my dear, something like, you know. Edgar, show the coachman the shortcut to our estate. Let the poor horses catch their breath. This little rescue mission has exhausted me. I'll be riding inside the carriage with my future spouse. Without delay, the carriage door swings open, letting in the cold night air as Oscar steps inside. The crimson of his hair and clothes unsettles you, but you try to ignore it. Is it like a warning, like, oh, you'll die if you marry this man with his bloody hair and his bloody confidence, you know? I mean, he's quite a fun character, like, I mean, not someone I would marry, but a fun guy. Fun psychopath, probably. And of course, you already know he will bypass Rudolph entirely and sit beside you. Bracing yourself for discomfort, you inch as close to the window as possible, hoping to put as much space between you as the narrow seat allows. Yeah, I mean, what do we know about what she thinks about Oscar? Because she said they were supposed to be neighbors and friends technically, but they were not that close. But she never exactly said she hated him or something. She just wasn't very eager to marry him, but I don't know. Seems like she hates him now, at least. Oscar notices your subtle retreat, yet despite settling into his seat with his usual nonchalance, he does not close the distance. A rare courtesy, or perhaps a subtle confirmation of the distance that has grown between you lately. As the carriage lurches forward again, you close your eyes, willing the rest of his cursed journey to pass quickly. But then, the rustle of the food basket, a sharp crunch. Oscar has found an apple and wasted no time biting into it. Oh, he's a terrible man, he's hungry, I hate him already. And then, predictably, his voice, ever unrelenting, fills the carriage once more. You must have forgotten that his mouth never ceases to work. Wink, wink. What a comfortable little carriage. You have blankets, a well-stocked food basket, and even some ridiculous book about necromancy. Oh, is that what we're reading? And he's the weird guy? Oh, come on. Though personally, I would prefer a more thrilling and pleasurable pastime. I almost thought he's gonna say company, but pastime works too, I guess. Your eyes snap open, sharp with warning. Oscar meets your gaze with an expression so innocent it could almost pass for sincere. I only meant conversation, of course. For instance, you still haven't told me what you were doing on my land so late at night, my dear. A part of you concedes that, given his aid in the situation, a little gratitude might be warranted. Like, what do you mean what I'm doing here? I am going to your dinner that you invited me to, you moron. I assumed you would have figured it out. I was on my way to Red Hot Manor for your dinner invitation. For the first time, the true surprise flickers across Oscar's face. I mean, yeah, he probably didn't know about the invitation, right? Because it was A, not his handwriting, and 2, Would he go hunting when he's supposed to be home for dinner? I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's that kind of man. He seems like proper gentleman in at least in some aspects, probably cares about statues and stuff. I don't recall inviting you to dinner. In fact, I don't recall hosting a dinner at all. Just a quiet meal with a few relatives and friends, as usual. Now it's your turn to be caught off guard. I didn't know that. I received a letter bearing your family seal written and signed by you. Of course, you conveniently skipped over the part where the handwriting doesn't match his. The realization that this entire journey may have been for nothing nauseated you. You fix your gaze on him, waiting for a reaction. But Oscar merely takes another exaggerated bite of his apple, then, without an ounce of shame, tosses the half-eaten fruit back into the basket. Okay, here's his biggest character flaw. Like, that's disgusting, let's not marry him, okay? Dude was like, I don't care. His indifference returns like a well-worn mask. Must have been the steward. Which means my mother told him to. You know how the old woman is half the time, even I can make sense of what she's up to. Lady Diana, Oscar's mother, is a formidable alpha in her own right, the true ruler of Redheart Manor and its lands. Do you know that Oscar has taken full control due to her decline in health? How long that will last remains uncertain. Naturally, as a devoted fiancé, always try to read finance. As a devoted fiancé, I would never have subjected my delicate and alien betrothed. Oh, it's Oscar in this. I completely got. You know, Oscar, that's the apple. The apple just completely threw me off guard, and now. All right, restart. Let's do it again. Naturally, as a devoted fiancé, I would never have subjected my delicate and alien betrothed to such an exhausting journey had I known. And yet, this devoted fiancé never thought to check on my well-being himself despite hearing I was unwell. It's just a seasonal matter, nothing to be concerned about. Okay, should I be like... should I be prickly? Or should I be like very, what's the word, polite? Should I be very polite to him? Or should I be prickly? I don't know how easy it is to anger him. He seems to be very amused by everything we've said so far, so let's amuse him more. Or should I save? Okay. Quick save complete. Oh, I wanted to do this. I probably... Alright. Okay, let's be impolite. Oh, how could she? His face like... For a brief moment, Oscar's ever-mocking expression falters. Then, with a slight lift of his brows, his smirk returns. Frankly, I assumed it was just an excuse to avoid me. I still do. Can you really blame me for thinking that? You grit your teeth, forcing yourself not to rise to his arrogance. You should be prepared for this by now, but somehow he still manages to infuriate you. I'm quite surprised that he actually sounds quite reasonable, more reasonable than I expected, alright? Yes, because when I said I wasn't well, I actually meant it. You weren't even on my mind. And you do look perfectly fine now, my dear. Still, as a concerned fiancé, I could never allow you or your man to set out on another journey tonight. And here we are. Welcome to Redheart Manor, my dear. With a smooth pull of the curtain, Oscar reveals the grand silhouette of the manor perched atop the hill, its spires and chimneys black against the snow-veiled sky. The sight swallows your doubts. The shortcut was real. The moon is like, it's kind of pretty. though very grey and dark and all. Oh, it's even prettier with some blue in it. You have finally reached the end of your journey. Redheart Manor greets you not with silence but with warmth. The moment you step inside, a wave of golden light and heat envelops you. The grand hall is lavishly lit and perfectly heated, chasing off the bite of the forest cold that still clings to your sleeves. Compared to the desolate hours spent among snow-choked trees, this place feels like a hidden sanctuary carved out of winter's jaws. You can almost feel your shoulders drop, tension melting from your spine. Look, I'm just happy that we managed to get here because for a moment I was really afraid that we would end with the demo like right by the beginning when we first died, and I was like, okay, so I said we're gonna play this game, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be some fun, and then I would like give you 20 minutes and be like, yeah, guys, that's all there was to the game you clicked on. So maybe see you next time. Maybe when there's more content. I don't know. That would be that would be quite frankly quite embarrassing. So I'm glad we actually get to find the right uh, choices to get further in the story. Thank God. All right. No wonder Redheart draws visitors in every season. Who wouldn't seek refuge in such opulence? Of course, for a manor this size, such elegance must come at an exorbitant cost. But judging by the army of servants lining the hall, you doubt the owners are concerned with such trivialities. That's not how it's said, I'm sure, but Oscar, by contrast, doesn't even pause to take it in. With the kind of practiced ease only someone raised in excess could manage, he shrugs off his heavy coat and tosses it without looking into the waiting arms of a nearby servant. Then, with his usual feline grace, he makes his way toward a woman you recognize. Red-haired housekeeper, a sharp-featured, stern-looking matron. Congratulations, Chase, you caught it midair. You must have been practicing while I was away. We're terribly late, aren't we, my dear? Is everything in order? You don't need to ask whether his endearment is reserved solely for you. The housekeeper's stoic expression makes it perfectly clear. Still, you think you catch a hint of warmth in her voice, or perhaps you only wish to. All is well, my lord. Hey Edgar, stop fiddling with my rifle. The only reason you're not a better hunter than me is because I'm simply the better hunter. I'm sure you've got some trick up your sleeve. While Edgar grumbles and hands the weapons over to a waiting footman, your fiancé redirects his attention to the housekeeper. So tell me, darling, how's the old woman? At the mention of old woman, the housekeeper's face threatens to tighten, but she restrains herself with practiced grace. You can help but admire her loyalty to her weakened mistress. Hoping to hear something of Lady Diana's condition, you begin to step forward, only to have your view suddenly blocked by what must be the largest man you've ever seen. A footman, judging by the uniform. Fortunately, there's no reason to panic. He has not come for you, but to carry away Rudolph, still unconscious, who is being half-dragged by a coachman and one of Oscar's hunting companions. Your gaze lingers on the young servant, still slumped and motionless. Pity coils tight in your chest, followed swiftly by curiosity. He needs to see a doctor without delay. There's no visible injury, but we can know what happened in the forest. He may have struck his head or eaten something poisonous. In the winter, I don't know. Though the hulking servant appears to be listening, he offers no response. You aren't entirely sure he even understood you. You're just about to speak again when Oscar cuts in, answering on his behalf. Stop alarming him with all those orders, darling. Redheart has its own doctor. Though honestly, I can say he's done much beyond handing out antacids to my guests. Still, thanks to your boy, we'll get to put his skills to the test. Despite Oscar's dismissive tone, the knowledge that there's a physician on the premises brings a flicker of relief. As the massive servant lifts Rudolph onto his back, it dawns on you. He doesn't respond to your voice or any voice at all. He acts solely on orders already given. He must be both deaf and mute. You don't know how things are typically run at Red Heart, but you can help finding this a rather unusual arrangement. Well, hopefully it's not Oscar's fault that he's deaf and mute, but let's hope. Fingers crossed. Turning your thoughts away from the unsettling man, you look toward your coachman. Please don't leave Rudolph's side, not even for a moment. If he wakes, inform me at once. Of course, my lady, you needn't worry about him. As the coachman hurries off behind the hulking servant, vanishing quickly from view, your gaze inevitably drifts to the corner where Oscar stands and meets his. You try to remain composed, wondering how he'll react to a gesture that so clearly betrays your lack of trust. Yet, to your surprise, your fiancé chooses to ignore it entirely and simply smiles. Come here, darling. How is my poor housekeeper supposed to serve this many people if she's not even aware of who's coming and going? Have you ever seen this uninvited guest before, Demona? In contrast to Oscar's mocking tone, the housekeeper dips her head respectfully as you approach. I had a chance to see her from afar during the ball last summer, when your engagement was first announced, my lord. We shall do everything in our power to make your stay as pleasant as possible, my lady. I have no doubt, thank you. You're not sure whether your words are even heard. Oscar is too busy laughing at himself. Damona, what a sharp memory you have! When I found her in the middle of the forest, I couldn't even remember her name, so I spent the entire ride calling her darling. Is that a joke or is it just dumb? I don't know. You hesitate. The eyes and ears of every servant and every member of the hunting party are turned toward you. Whether to respond and put him in his place becomes a question in itself. Choices. You remembered my butler's name perfectly. It's alright, I suppose that's an acceptable way to address me. I don't know, I think the first one is like even that's a very funny way to respond. It's like, oh yeah, I'm less important than my butler, apparently, to you. Oscar falters just for a moment and you wonder if you've gone too far. Did we piss him off? But then suddenly his laugh echoes off the high stone walls of the manor. You wait patient and stone-faced as strange looks pass between those around you. When he finally quiets, Oscar leans in close and lowers his voice to a conspiration murmur. The thought that I might be jealous of a beta must be endlessly amusing to you. Christian is so commanding, so unshakably composed that you often forget he is, like the others, just a beta. Jealous, huh? I mean, it's a romance, of course he's gonna be jealous. There's gonna be this love triangle, probably. A cold shiver creeps along your spine, but you don't back down. He's so amused by this Omega being so elf-like, you know. You're the one who confused him with Rudolph. Oscar's eyes glint with something strange, unreadable. His voice is low, quiet as a fret as he straightens up again. Because there's no difference between the two. You suspect he means more than just their shared rank. But whatever he's implying, now is not the time nor the place to challenge him in the front of everyone. Yeah, let's keep that to the privacy of, you know, when you're alone, when you're married and stuff like that. A short silence settles between you, broken only by Oscar's sudden command echoing sharply across the hall, his tone unmistakably authoritative this time. Why haven't the kills been taken to the kitchen yet? Why are Edgar still fiddling with my rifles? Am I feeding a village board of people here for nothing? Oh no, I skipped that? Oh, I can look back. For the first time in a long while, you feel it, his... Alright? Pheromones, faint but unmistakably present, stirring the air like an unseen fog. Did everything just got like more saturated, all the colors, and like ooh. Your heart lurches before you even realize what's happening. She's like, oh, he's so infuriating, oh, he's got this commanding voice, ooh. They're not overwhelming, but they're far from ineffective. The entire hall seems to stir at once, spurred into motion, and while the betas around you obey blindly, blissfully unaware of the influence clouding their heads, you and Omega know better. Oh, actually, what are Omegas in those stupid, like alpha, beta, all that theories? Are those the like rebels or something? Because I don't know. Like the whole theory of wolves having this spec order is that's basically bullshit that they made up because wolves in captivity. Wolves in captivity just behave differently than in nature. In nature, they're usually in packs, where the parents lead the pack, and most other wolves are their children, and it's this more like family unit than this this alpha and this beta, and they're fighting. Like alphas are usually just the parents. It's like a family. It's not like it's the one lie that some people used to feel better about themselves, thinking they're like alpha wolves, but that's not really how wolves usually work. So yeah, that's what happens when they are forced to be with other wolves they're not in any way related to, and forced to be in the same enclosure and stuff. The entire hall seems to stir at once. Of course, I already read that. Omega know better. Yes. Unfortunately, it doesn't make you immune. No matter how much you reason with yourself, something primal rises inside you, a murmur of submission, of guilt, a trembling impulse to appease the alpha you've displeased. And worse, that alpha happens to be your fiancé. But as unmated Omega of your standing, you're expected to resist all such signals, even his. Fortunately, your training kicks in before instinct can win. Okay, I'm getting quite curious how this society is supposed to work. Like, as an Omega, you should be not influenced by anyone or what. You managed to turn away, calm and composed, and face the housekeeper as though nothing had happened. The journey has exhausted me. Could you show me to a room where I can rest? Of course, my lady. I've had a guest room in the west wing prepared for you. The fire has just been lit. If you wish, I can personally escort you there. You offer the stern woman a grateful smile, nodding your agreement. And in that moment, you're certain she knew about dinner invitation. She must have, and she prepared for your arrival in advance. I suppose not telling Oscar is the better thing that could have happened than someone just trying to lure her into the wild to kill her or something. Because for a moment it looked like that. It looked like somebody might have sent a letter just to make sure she will go out and basically murder her. But now it seems that at least some people in his house knew about it. So probably it was actually an invitation, but it was not from Oscar because their relationship seems to be cold at the moment and he thought she avoided him. so he wouldn't invite her and stuff. As you begin ascending the stairs alongside the housekeeper, your fiance's booming voice rings out behind you, catching up with startling ease. The East Wind room! I want her placed in the room in the East Wing. The housekeeper's eyes narrow in visible disapproval at the change, but she doesn't dare object. Does he want us, like, closer, huh? From your place on the steps, you can't see Oscar's expression, but his voice dripping with mockery reaches you all the same. I wouldn't want my beloved future spouse deprived of her usual silence. You know how the West Wings become indistinguishable from a school dormitory these days. You know the West Wing, in addition to the main building, is filled with newer, more comfortable rooms. The East Wing, by contrast, is older. Of course, having lived in one of the oldest menus in the region yourself, this is hardly something you'd complain about. Still, you can help but suspect that this sudden change is Oscar's attempt at some subtle punishment. Alright, so maybe we should not have pissed him off, because now he's gonna put us in a old spooky room and something's gonna kill us again. There's no question in your mind that his motives lie somewhere far from genuine concern for your comfort. Regardless, you can neither read his mind nor openly oppose him. So, in silence, you follow the housekeeper deeper into the manor. When you arrive at the room where you'll be spending the night, you see that Redheart's sense of opulence continues unabated here as well. The bed linens, the curtains, the wardrobes, everything in the room has been chosen with an unmistakable sense of care and expense. Yet despite their pristine condition, nothing quite manages to conceal how old they truly are. Do you know who this room used to belong to? The housekeeper's expression remains as composed and solemn as ever when she replies, I don't believe so, my lady. In all the time I've served at the manor, I've never seen it assigned to anyone in particular. Only you glance up at her, attentive now to the pause in her speech. I do know that Lord Oisin stayed here for a time before marrying Lady Diana, my lady. If the room does not please you, I can inform the Lord of your wish to change it. I'm sure he would not object. he will probably object, I suppose. Is the Lord like that? Did he like die? I mean, he had to. Is he Oscar's father, or did he die before the marriage in this room? It's clear someone from higher up, clearly not Oscar, has instructed her to treat you with the utmost care. Still, for a single night, there's no need to be overly particular. No, the room is lovely, thank you. I'll send someone at once to see to your needs, my lady. In the meantime, please make yourself comfortable. Once you're alone, the warm, flickering glow of the fireplace fills the room with a soft crimson light as you continue examining furnishings. But nothing in particular stands out. Perhaps this room once belonged to a previous master of Redheart, lavishly furnished and then quietly forgotten by the new ones. Oscar's father might have chosen it to stay in just out of convenience. In any case, you're deeply grateful to be spending the night here rather than in the cold and shadowed woods outside. Before long, the maid sent by the housekeeper arrives and assists you with your bath without requiring you to step out of your room. The warmth of the water loosens your muscles, leaving your whole body draped in a sweet lethargy, and before long, you stop finding the unfamiliarity of the room strange at all. By the time a gentle knock on the door stirs you back to awareness, you've almost forgotten where you were. You sit up straighter in your armchair and bid the maid to enter. You're expected in the dining room for dinner, my lady. Your gaze drifts to the clock above the fireplace, confirming your sense that the hour is unusually late. Isn't it a bit late for dinner? Here at Redheart, dinner is always served at this time, my lady. Sometimes the meals last until midnight. What you hear both confuses you and rekindles your unease. Is that so? Meals I've attended usually started and ended earlier. But recalling that your last visit to Red Hat was before the first snow had fallen makes you question the reliability of your own memories. Oh, never mind. I don't think I could eat anything at this hour. I'm afraid I'll have to miss dinner. In truth, your decision has less to do with your appetite and more with your desire to avoid encountering Oscar and his pheromones again tonight. Whether intentional or not, you know that spending time around an alpha carries risks for someone like you. Especially when this alpha is arrogant, careless, and insufferably self assured as Oscar. The maid respectfully nods and leaves the room, only to return a short while later with a small servant card. Then she quietly withdraws once more. His family is probably not gonna be happy that we're not joining him for dinner, since they went through all this, like, since they invited us and all, but. And we have gone through much more to get here in time, but whatever, if we're not going to the dinner, we're not, I guess. You find an assortment of delicate sandwiches, buttery savory scones, filmy sliced cold meats, dried fruits, and a steaming bowl of soup waiting for you. You had only intended to nibble a little, but by the time you realize it, you've eaten nearly everything, finally understanding how hungry you had truly been. Yeah, maybe joining dinner wouldn't be a bad idea, but fine. Not once during the journey had it even crossed your mind to reach for anything from the food basket, so consumed you were by stress. Now, full and warm, you feel like you could finally give in to the day's exhaustion and sleep through the night. But it doesn't take long for you to realize you were wrong. Despite how much time has passed since you slipped into bed, you still find yourself staring up at the arms of the chandelier on the ceiling. If this keeps up, sleeplessness may soon become a permanent affliction. Still, rather than dwell on that, Still, rather than dwell on that, you try to focus on solutions, at least for now. Last, you remember the books you left in the carriage, especially the one on necromancy, which you've been meaning to read for quite some time now. Yeah, amazing book choice for when you can't sleep, you know? When you've been risen from the dead and from the sleeping and all that stuff. It seems unlikely that you'll find a better opportunity than this. Hoping the maid assigned to you is still awake, you reach for the bell beside your bed and give it a ring. Fortunately, she arrives moments later. Though the hour is undeniably late, she responds with such calm composure that you find yourself wondering about the rhythms of Red Heart's nightly routine, though of course you wouldn't dare ask her aloud. Has there been any news about Rudolph? I mean, the unconscious man I brought with me. I was told the doctor is still with him, my lady, but there have been no updates yet as he's still examining him. Although Rudolph's lingering state of unconsciousness stirs a knot of unease in your stomach, there is little you can do besides wait for the doctor's report. Thank you. Before you go, could you please have my books brought in from the carriage? Of course, my lady. Once alone again, your gaze drifts toward the window. You haven't touched the heavy curtains since you arrived, but the distant howling of wolves, carried faintly through the thick stone walls, draws you closer. Unlike your own manor, Red Heart sits atop a hill, set apart from the edge of the woods. You are quietly grateful that the wild cries don't reach here with the same intensity. You part the curtains, hoping Christian has already arranged a deal with the hunters to address the problem. But the walls vanish from your thoughts the moment you see what lies beyond the glass. Woods? The lake. Directly in front of you, still and silent. The moonlight drapes across its surface, turning water into a sheet of silver. So beautiful and serene, especially compared to the dark forest surrounding it, that if only for a moment you could forget that it swallowed your family whole and left you behind to bear the silence. But you can't forget. So that's why Oscar put us here. Oh, such a nice guy, huh? You never will. You were never even allowed to say a proper goodbye, never permitted to see the frozen bodies of your mother and father dragged up from its depths. Girl, I think that's for the best, for the better, for the best. Yeah, it's for the best. Just you don't want to see frozen bodies of your parents, okay? All you had were their remaining belongings and the memory of your mother's missing wedding ring. It must have slipped from her finger as she clung to your father to life. That ring, the magnificent one she never took off. Would it still lie at the bottom of the gleaming lake, hidden in the cold dark? Or had the whispering, guttural voice you heard after the burial been telling the truth? The thought poisons your mind and leaves you dizzy. You try to remember what the doctor told you, repeating it to yourself like a mantra. You mustn't think about it. I mustn't think about it. I should think of something else. For instance, what does that painting mean? Just then you hear a knock at the door. You pull the curtain shut with one last effort, blocking the moonlight entirely before calling out. Still, the realization doesn't leave you. Oscar chose this room for you. This room with its view of that lake. Whether by thoughtlessness or cruelty, he's proven yet again just how little he truly considers your feelings. When the maid steps into the room, she seems unaware of the storm in your chest. But the strange concern on her face, the slight worry in her raised eyes, tells you something is amiss. My lady, I'm afraid there's been a mistake. They've already taken your books to the library. You continue staring at her, not quite understanding what's so concerning about it. Thankfully, she doesn't leave you in suspense. I'm not allowed to retrieve your books from there, my lady. No one except the housekeeper is permitted to enter the library. And the housekeeper is currently Lady Diana. I am not authorized to disturb her in that condition. Please forgive my incompetence. You still don't believe the situation warrants the kind of dread that's making the poor girl squirm in front of you. You never thought you'd miss your own maid Daisy's complete lack of such delicate concerns. In that case, I'll go and fetch the books from the library myself. The startled look that flashes in the maid's eyes gives you pause. Am I forbidden from entering the library? The word forbidden sends another wave of panic across her face, making it clear Redheart holds such restrictions in very high regard. You can't help but think how much Tristan would enjoy it. Tristan. No, my lady, I wasn't told anything like that. I don't believe there's any restriction applied to you. Good, then the matter is settled. You may rest. I don't think I'll be needing anything else tonight. You reach for your robe, preparing to step outside when the maid who's been watching you silently suddenly speaks up. If you'd like, I can escort you to the library. I'd appreciate that. After all, you wouldn't even know where to begin looking for the entrance to the library in your fiance's manor, which you've only visited a few times. Moving through the dim corridors, lit only by the candlelight in the maid's hand, a chilling silence settles around you. Thankfully, it's pierced now and then by the distant bursts of laughter, conversation, and uninterrupted music from another corridor, enough to assure you that you're still within the walls of Red Heart. At last, after navigating through several identical halls and climbing up and down more stairs than you'd care to count, the maid stops in front of a large door. This is it, my lady. Unfortunately, even being here is considered improper for someone like me, so I'll need to take my leave. Would you like me to wait at the top of the stairs? Noticing the faint glow leaking through the slightly ajar door and realizing someone's inside, you find your confidence again and turn to her. That won't be necessary. Just tell me how to get back to my room. She does as you ask, then disappears down the hall in quick steps. You narrow your eyes, trying to make out who's inside before knocking. It's probably Oscar, knowing we would want to go retrieve our books, right? You've attended enough of Oscar's gatherings to be sure he keeps company with at least a few well-mannered friends. And if someone here prefers books over wine and music, perhaps you found a decent conversation partner. But as you ease the door open a little further, the figure seated in the armchair by the fire comes into full view, and two surprising facts greet you at once. First, the person is entirely engrossed in the very book you came here for. The latest release from the notorious necromancer everyone's talking about. And second, unfortunately, the person is Oscar, yeah. It. And now I can enter the library or return to my room. Is he gonna kill us if we stay here? Let's do this. My favorite quick. I suppose it's gonna be more fun to just enter the library. And possibly some murderer is hiding behind under the bed in our room or something. I don't know in this game. You can't quite stomach the thought of turning back just because Oscar is inside. But storming in as though nothing's happened and simply reclaiming your book from him doesn't seem possible either. By the time you realize your hesitation at the door has lasted too long, it's already too late to retreat. Darling, if you had your fill of admiring me from a distance, why not try enjoying the view up close? He speaks without lifting his eyes from the book, a slight smirk curling his lips. Which is probably for the best. He doesn't see the flustered, embarrassed look on your face in that moment. Oh my god, I wouldn't be flustered. It's not surprising at all that a guy like him would say something like that, you know. Knowing that turning tail now would only seem more foolish, you step into the library with reluctant resignation. Contrary to the eerie image painted by your maid's words, the library isn't nearly as foreboding as you imagined. The shelves lining the walls hold books that seem worth a small fortune, likely the reason no servants are allowed in. You almost sigh in relief as you realize Oscar's pheromones, which had permeated the hall earlier, have now faded to a more bearable trace. Keeping a safe distance between you, you finally speak. I only came here for my books, especially the one you're holding. Oscar's eyes lift from the pages slowly, and instead of the mockery you expected, his expression carries a surprising weariness, almost sincerity. At this hour? Unless you've planned to share your bed with a corpse tonight, I doubt you need anything written in this book. Oh no, Oscar darling, I don't plan to share my bed with a corpse or you for that matter, but you hold his gaze, schooling your features into a neutral calm. There's nothing like that in the book. Are you calling me a liar? And how would you even know what's in here? You haven't read it at all. You haven't read it all. You can tell, even in his fatigue, Oscar has no intention of backing down from this game. And how would you know I haven't? With a flick of his wrist, he lifts the book effortlessly into one palm, bringing it close to his face. You watch as he breathes in deeply from the open page, his eyes closing for a moment. Okay, nice show, I guess. It's easy. These pages don't carry a trace of you. Oh my, oh my, oh my, right. You flush hotly as you realize what he means. Your pheromones. Even though you're engaged, set to marry soon, it still feels wildly inappropriate for him to speak so openly about it. Ah, no manners here. Just don't speak about smells, can you, please? The fact that you're alone together only worsens the situation. Yes, where's your chaperone, my dear? Your eyes dart to the door, suddenly aware that you had been sure was left open is now somehow shut. Oh no, now they have to marry. Oh wait, they've already been married. Unlike you, Oscar seems entirely unbothered. When he opens his eyes again, his gaze is narrowed, intent, and disturbingly pleased. Of course, you just stared at him for 5 minutes, being like, oh boy, oh boy. Even for such a feeble little Omega, I can sense them. Sweet, dense, but undeniably alluring. Come here, Anya. No. Oh. Though his tone carries the weight of command, it brushes your ears as the softest, most delicious sound you've ever heard. Before you even register it, your feet are moving. Okay, so we should have left Aaron. Is that what you're saying to me? Like, no. You're not without will, but somehow you've already been persuaded. The atmosphere of the library shifts completely, the air becoming warmer, heavier, infused with something intoxicating. A metallic yet rich aroma. Aroma. Yes, it's pheromone. Is the same color. By the time you've reached the space before his armchair, Oscar still hasn't moved. He only watches you, eyes half-lidded, sharp, and assessing. Is he trying to assess if we're a virtuous maiden or not? In the firelight, his hair gleams like the purest copper, and his lips look like ripe fruit, full and flushed. Okay, guys, this is getting steaming. I'm quite afraid where this is going to go, but all right. The way your fingers itch to reach for his hair, to take those lips, it feels so natural, so easy, almost inevitable. Here's your book, my dear. You had nearly forgotten why you even came here in the first place, so when he extends the book towards you, you hesitate, unsure how to react. Or should I escort you back to your room and read you these fairy tales myself? Though the offer feels dangerously tempting, your answer comes with a sharpness that even surprises you. No. Your fiancé flinches, just slightly, but then his lips stretch into a wide grin, effortless and mocking. I was only teasing, darling. I have no intention of wasting my night playing nanny for you. Unless you've got something tempting to offer in return. There's half a buttered scone left in my room. Oscar lets out a low, amused chuckle that, even for a brief moment, manages to pull at your focus. How generous of you, my sweet. A beat of silence settles between you. Sensing the moment's end, you reach out for the book, only for Oscar to yank it back before you can touch it. Alright. Why do I look kinda like a guy from this angle? I don't know. You're left with your hand suspended in the air as he catches your wrist, swift and deliberate. You barely manage to stop yourself from stumbling onto him, catching the side of his chair at the last second. But even that can stop the space between your faces from narrowing. You feel your breath scatter across his lips, close enough to taste the heat radiating off him. And you're already far too provoked to pretend you don't want more. Until your eyes lift from his mouth to meet his gaze. And in that instant, everything warm inside you turns cold. Because you've never seen such a frigid, razor-sharp expression in those firelit blue eyes. Do you see now, Anya? You can only resist me if I allow it. It's only now that you become fully aware of the pheromones that have saturated the room. Unlike the faint command he used earlier in the hall to direct the servants, these are thick, oppressive, utterly overwhelming. You've never been subjected to anything like this before, and every sense feels scrambled. You vile, shameless, contemptible creature! How dare you! Even though he knows full well that such a thing is a grave taboo in your society, Oscar's expression doesn't shift an inch. All is fair in love and war, darling. And believe me, love is the last thing you'll find at Red Hot. Sooner you understand who you're dealing with, the better it'll be for you. Let me go. You struggle with all your strength, but it's useless. Your fiance tightens his grip on your wrist instead of releasing you. You're so stuck in the past you can't even see what's right in front of you. It's maddening how weak you are, and yet so oblivious. You should be far too old to still believe in every fairy tale you read. You feel something snap inside you. It's too much. Your voice erupts with all the fury you've held back, echoing against the library's walls. I said, let me go! You catch the flicker in his lashes, the momentary falter in his composure. As you wish. And just like that, you're free. Without sparing him even a glance, you bolt from the library. Hey, what about a book? As you try to navigate Red Heart's dim corridors back to your room, your rage gives way to something far worse. Regret. Normally, Oscar's words wouldn't have shocked or angered you so much. After all, even before your engagement, you knew what a bond between an Omega and an Alpha entailed. But something about tonight, about him, feels different. You can shake the thought that Oscar meant to go beyond the boundaries society deems acceptable, especially when his own mother was infamous for keeping her Omega in a near constant haze of dominant pheromones until he became more dependent than devoted. Still, no matter what, you don't want to believe that the Oscar you've known since childhood, that bright, cheerful boy who used to pull you into games from a quiet corner, could turn into someone like that. Maybe it was your mistake to think he was anything like his mother. And yet, somehow, though you're sure you've gotten lost along the way, you find your room again. The first thing you do is retrieve a small bottle from the handbag you never part with. Without hesitation, you tip back the bitter medicine, drinking down half the while. Your face contorts at the taste, but at least now you feel somewhat safer, less vulnerable to the alphas around you. In any case, a sleepless night lies ahead. You survived the day, 8 days left, to be continued. Yes. Alright, so we survived for 2 days, guys. And it wasn't that easy. Like in the beginning, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure that we can get so far. And I mean, it got quite interesting. So we met Oscar. Um, this doesn't seem to be heading towards the direction of happy marriage and forever after all that stuff. And then there's the butler that probably will have um bigger role in the story. I wonder if in the full game we'll see the other characters as well. Seems like they either don't have artwork yet, or maybe they will not have it, just so they only like paid for the necessary stuff. I don't know. Okay, I don't know how long this was. Never mind. Uh, if you enjoyed it, you can try to play it yourself and maybe try some different things I have not tried. Maybe try to die a different way that I have not explored here. And when this is finally out one day, I suppose I will check the Steam page. It seems it has Steam page already here in the menu. Uh, what was I saying? Oh my. Alright. When it comes out, the full version, I hope we will play it again and continue and, you know, figure out what happens next. And if you like games like this, don't forget to subscribe and see you when I play the next game, hopefully. Yeah. So bye for now. Bye bye.